So I often get asked, what's the difference between ADD, attention deficit disorder, and ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder? With the classical answer being, well, people with ADD just aren't as hyperactive, right? The truth is that ADD actually doesn't even exist anymore. That's right, there are actually 3 different subtypes to ADHD now, none of which are called ADD, that are all quite unique and different from one another.
The truth shall set you free!
Stay tuned if you want to find out why ADD is now an outdated term, which subtypes of ADHD exist, and which one you might have. Welcome back guys to ADHD Vision, presenting ADHD by ADHD. If you're new and you want to learn how to use ADHD to your advantage, why don't you consider subscribing? ADD was the first name coined for our brains, which then, from 2013 onwards, evolved into ADHD. Traditionally, inattentive symptoms of attention deficit, like trouble listening or managing time, were diagnosed as ADD. Hyperactive and impulsive symptoms were associated with the term ADHD. So, regardless of if we exhibit hyperactive symptoms or not, we now have a form of ADHD, not ADD. This means that even though we have ADHD, we can still be quite different from one another, as ADHD is now the umbrella term for the following possible subtypes. Now guys, I highly encourage you to stick around until the end in order to find out which subtype you might be. Number 1, primarily inattentive, which people typically used to refer to as ADD. If you have inattentive ADHD, you will not be hyperactive or impulsive and might have gotten misdiagnosed with a mood disorder or with anxiety in adults.
Wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here!
ADHDers of this subtype, at least from the outside, come off as lazy, disinterested, or forgetful. In the description, you will find the criteria you need to tick in order for you to be diagnosed with a subtype. Be sure to check it out down below if you want to find out. Recognizing inattentive ADHD is key to preventing a lifetime of low self-esteem and shame, as you might often make careless mistakes, lose interest quickly, and have difficulty following verbal instructions, which then, as we often talk about on this channel, can lead to criticism, etc. If this is you, I just want to quickly let you know that it is not too late to turn those low feelings around. If you're in need of a boost, then be sure to check out the video on the top right, highlighting the main 5 powerful benefits of your ADHD. You might just be surprised what you're capable of.
And Hulk. Smash.
Number 2, primarily hyperactive impulsive. Hyperactive impulsive ADHD is pretty much the stereotype most people think of when referring to ADHD, which is basically just people that are very hyperactive, fidgety, talk a lot, and can't wait their turn. Or at least that's what society thinks anyway. We know that there is actually a lot more to it than that. Now, even though this subtype represents the stereotype of ADHD, it's funnily enough also the least common subtype. All of the symptoms, again, for this type can be found down below. Number 3, combined. Lastly, combined type ADHD occurs, you guessed it, when someone has 6 or more symptoms of the inattentive and 6 or more symptoms of the hyperactive impulsive type. Now, overall, men and boys usually have hyperactive symptoms, while women and girls are more commonly inattentive. This is actually the reason for why men are more easily diagnosed with ADHD, because their symptoms are a lot more recognizable and out there, so to speak, than the ones from women. Many people with ADHD, especially girls and women, therefore live with a quiet, spacey form of the condition that's often misunderstood and undiagnosed. Which subtype do you think you are? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I would be really interested to find out. But before you tell everybody that you now have combined ADHD, please be sure to check this with an official doctor just to make sure. Please don't self-diagnose, guys. Now, be sure to check out these related ADHD Advantage videos in order to start learning how to live your best life with ADHD. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you again in 2 weeks.